So,
really gonna
what was your
hang on every
reaction
word.
when you found out you were going to get to play Shredder in this film?
Oh, I flipped out. I mean, who wouldn't? Yeah, it was quite an honor to play such an iconic character, and additionally, it was very daunting at the same time. Like the second later, to know how many people had played him beforehand and what they had brought. So it was kind of one of those things where, you know, got to, very happy for 1 second, then it's like, ooh, I got to get to work.
When Shredder finds out about Batman, do you think he sees him as a worthy adversary or nothing more than a bug he has to step on?
I think for a brief instant, he sees him as somebody like a bug to be stepped on. It takes about 10 seconds for him to go, this is not exactly what I thought it would be. This is far different than battling 4 anthropomorphized turtles with weapons. This is a whole other deal. So yeah, he does acclimate and adjust his style to step up, because otherwise Batman's just gonna bring it. So.
And it's hard to imagine him teaming up with anyone, much less resolve Ghul. So how does that, because they kind of work together a bit.
Right.
Like, how does that happen? How does that work?
It's funny you bring that up, because the thing is, Shredder is so driven by personal, you could say almost petty things, very deeply injured vanity. A lot of ego is wrapped up in who he is. So obviously that doesn't lend itself well to team building. He's not like the guy wearing the team building exercise T-shirt with the trophy on it. But he does see as an opportunist. He does see the possibility to get something in exchange for doing something. So he doesn't think much of people around him, but he does understand what they can offer him. So in that respect, he's like, all right, let me see what you have. And if you've got something I want, I will give you just enough to ensure that I can close the deal. And then that's it. And at any moment, should I decide to terminate it, I'm fine with that too.
So when you were going into the role of Shredder, did you kind of look back at other Shredders that played the character, or did you just go in with your own style?
Well, I was obviously familiar growing up with people who had played Shredder. I mean, the joke was, hey, you can do the Uncle Phil Shredder? Like everybody says that. But what I tried to do was block myself off from that and just break down who he is and what drives him. What drives him from a sense of a fighting style and how he adheres to being a martial artist and how he is as a warrior, but then internally who he is emotionally and what drives him, as things that you would think from the warrior code that he is supposed to adhere to, he should have excised from his personality. But he's still very much a prisoner of those feelings. So he has that tendency to lash out and be needlessly violent and to be almost in a state of electric bristling rage all the time, when he should be much more balanced. He should, in a perfect world, he would be that person. But that's kind of what makes him what it is. So it was taking all of those things and then saying, okay, now who is that person? And then pulling on people that I have known who unfortunately possess similar characteristics and going, let me fuse that into this person. Because before anything, he has to be believable. Otherwise, it's just kind of like a voice in a suit, which isn't believable.
Do you think your Shredder has the background of being a Rokusaki and the business and the backstory with Hamato Yoshi and their conflict? Do you think it came from that at all?
And again, that's a really good question. I tried to sort of just keep this one as its own individual thing, because that's such a good question. Because the thing is, it was how much of it do you want to incorporate? How far out of the world do you want it to, out of this specific iteration and instance, how much do you want to bring out of that? Because as you know, what ends up happening, it's kind of like, well, it goes in a very, very different direction. So it's like, who is that guy? And then obviously the other thing was, he's counterpoint to a lot of other things. And so I had to kind of go with that foreknowledge, okay, if there's Ra's al Ghul, if there's the Joker, if there's the Penguin, if there's Bane, if there's all these other people, it's like that he has to be a defined individual in that world. Otherwise, he's he might be too close to somebody else, and he can't just be pissed off. So that's kind of what I was feeling in that sense. Hopefully that answers your question.
Does he ever mention wanting to dine on turtle soup?
No. I had to I was like, wait, let me do it. No, he does not. No,
That's okay. That's okay.
While that is an iconic line, and I do love that line because I was kind of like, flip, damn it.
It's okay.
And I was like, the trade-off is I get to be him, but I don't get to say the line. Damn it. So yeah, that was it was a lot of fun, and it was also tough because he is so angry. It's hard to recede back from that because he's so. It takes a lot to pour that in because you realize when you kind of take a breath and you're done, you're like, that's an awful place to be. It's a really awful place to reside as a human being. So.
How do you kind of detox from that then?
I just go home, put on some Miles Davis, and just be like, I gotta order a pizza and be like, no phone calls. I'm cooling out. I'm good.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, because it was.
Pizza is very appropriate.
Yeah, that definitely was it. I did indeed see the
connection.
The bringing together of, let's keep it on brand. I feel like kid who's going to get recess called on him at any second.
I know,
I'm looking over my
5
shoulder.
minutes, and it's almost 7, so I'm like, ooh, I hope we're okay. But he hasn't gotten us in trouble yet. So.
Were you a fan of any of these properties before you got the gig?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was into two things. I was into hip-hop music and comic books, both as a DJ and an MC, and as and obviously just reading comics. And those can be wonderful if shared with a lot of people, but they also can be a lot of fun if you just do them by yourself, because you can sit at home and write rhymes or practice your cutting and do whatever, and then you can just if you talk comics with other people. And at that moment it was like the world in the early, mid, late 80s, the world of comics was just exploding outwards. I mean, obviously there were several ages, but there was such an expansion of a lot of different properties that made it fantastic to be a part of that, of where it was at that time. So, and hopefully for me, I mean, and maybe this is just me, but hip hop always informs to some degree or another what I do.
I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around that an animated movie exists of Batman and the Turtles together.
Oh, I am too. I absolutely am. And when I saw the whole thing, you guys come to the screening, right?
Yeah, we're gonna go.
Okay, when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It doesn't no, this seems weird or forced. It's it all makes sense. And I'm getting tapped, but
Andrew,
thank you so
good,
much.
good luck to the Dodgers this season.
Thank you. Hopefully I answered the questions that you had.
Oh yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
man.
This is a big score, gentlemen. It's the bat. Fire! Do I look like a friggin' bat to you? Huh?
I've read rumors about a supernatural bat creature in Gotham, but I assumed it was an urban legend.
Ninja Turtles.
We came to Gotham to stop Shredder and the Foot Clan.
The man who'll help